Hello everybody and welcome back to the Prince of Persia 2008 walkthrough. This time we are heading to another of the opening 4 fertile grounds. This time we are heading to the realm of the concubine. Because who doesn't love a good concubine? And if you've never played this or seen this game before, then make of concubine what you will until you see her, because what you're imagining is probably pretty close to what she is.
You don't act like a princess.
How do princesses act?
All the money, none of the sense. Don't know which end of a camel eats and which end.
Dude,
I know which end of a camel does what.
you don't go there.
A real
That's
What about
little bit sexist, dude.
There's not a lot,
Little
though.
teeny weeny
So,
bit
have you-
sexist.
I'm not saying anything until you share something about you. So, why were you in the desert with a donkey loaded with gold?
I would like to know this fact as
From
well.
where?
No, it's not where you've come from. It's where you're going that matters.
It's
trying to tell
a
me something.
good
You've still not said where you got the gold.
good
I
message,
found
but
You found it.
yeah.
I'm an adventurer.
You're a thief.
I reclaim abandoned property. I was a
Yeah,
few days from
he
here. I'd heard rumors of a
raids
tomb.
tombs.
A little bit of digging, small amount of hiding. And forget one donkey. I could have loaded 20, 30. If those guards hadn't turned up.
So yeah,
Well,
this is
I got away
the
with enough
first
to eat
Prince of
life's
Persia
lessons
game
for
where
at least a few more years.
the prince
Robbed the dead.
isn't really a
Lot easier than
prince.
robbing the living. Why am I being punished?
Although saying that, kind of with the amount of money he
Dead for 300
loaded on
years.
Farah,
Not like he was gonna do anything
he
wrong.
probably could have become a prince. I mean, also, I mean, the carpets that should be this thick. Anybody could become a prince with that sort of stuff.
Who's out there waiting for you?
Whole world full of people.
Is there no one you've got close to?
Trust yourself and you don't need to.
Trusting your own judgment can get lonely.
You rely on someone else, they'll just let you down.
You haven't let me down.
You haven't known me long enough.
Tell me about your family.
I don't have a family.
Well, you came
No.
from somewhere.
Yes.
It's these kind of conversations that
Somewhere
are really
else. Wanna play a
awesome,
game? Come on, it'll be fun.
because kind
The
of
world's about to end.
it
and
really
you want
does
to play a
develop
game?
the relationship
Might as well
between
die
Aleka
happy.
and the
What
prince,
sort of game is this?
because
I
they
see
just have a
something,
lot of
and you have to guess
banter,
what it is.
How can I guess that?
and it's
Just
great.
guess.
Grass.
No.
Rock.
New?
This is a stupid game.
I have to, I do agree, largely because I suspect the prince hasn't said all the rules.
Much more of this and I'll start talking to myself. No, you won't. No, I might, really. Where to now?
I wonder if that is, well, it's certainly not foreshadowing at Nolan North's future role as Deadpool, but, it's kind of funny to see that even in a game completely unrelated to the Merc with a Mouth, Nolan North is still voicing a character who ends up talking to himself. I mean, it's really inconsequential because that little dialogue thing does absolutely nothing. But I just find that rather amusing.
Where are we now?
It's part of the royal palace.
You lived here? Just you and your father?
Most of the people who remained lived here. First the Vale was abandoned. The citadel fell into decay. Then the city emptied. Only the palace remained.
Spooky place for only a few people.
It's not ghosts we'll find here. It's illusions. The concubine will be waiting for us.
How do we
The
get across
concubine.
She must have taken the bridges.
She's
that
a
were
fun
here.
corrupted to
We'll
have to
go
deal
the
with.
hard way.
here? What was this? Your wine cellar?
The cavern was here before the city was built.
I mean, in the
After
grand scheme of
palace was
things,
complete, they sometimes used this space
you've
for
got
royal performances, music, plays.
kind of, it gets more
great
difficult as you
thinkers,
go from left
magical
to
words.
right.
All
So the
the
hunter is arguably the easiest corrupted to deal with, and
Seen a play.
They're full of adventures,
the
stories,
one
and
corrupted that we
ideas.
have remaining, who
Dreams
is
of
in
what
that
people
other
can be.
There's a
quadrant.
whole world of adventures out there, Princess.
is arguably the most difficult. Although the concubine is certainly the most difficult standard enemy you have to defeat. Well, standard as in battles are as they usually are, because the final area is unique, which is what makes it difficult.
You can think about locking Armin away, but unless we use a sword as well, he escapes.
And without reason and courage to guide that sword, then all will die and be laid to waste.
The concubine sold her soul to Armin like the other corrupted?
No one knows who she really was. I don't know if even she does. Ahriman gave her the power of illusion. She could become who she wanted to be, make people believe whatever she wanted them to believe.
Can you cast illusions? If the concubine can.
I don't know. These powers are growing and changing. I don't know what I will be able to do, or if they'll just stop.
They won't stop. Or Maz, if you're out there, don't let them stop. If you and the concubine can both use magic...
My powers come from Maz. Hers from
if there is
Ahriman.
one thing that I will criticise about these dialogue options, is that frequently what happens is that if you move too far or kind of don't cover them all at once, then sometimes you'll never get the chance to have those dialogue options ever again. It's really bizarre.
Fertile ground is below us. The bridges that link to the platforms
But
are gone.
We'll have to use those
it happens, I guess. Also, look at the columns here.
Couldn't I have fallen into a canyon full of lost Amazons?
One of these things is not like the other, and that fall would normally lead to death. But in this instance, we actually landed perfectly fine thanks to the awesomeness of cutscene powers.
Can't move. It's the concubine. She.
And here we have the concubine herself.
You relieve the pain.
Hang in there. I'll stop her.
Now, of all of the corrupted, the concubine is definitely the most talkative. Like, seriously, she just does not shut up.
Why they are here.
And, I mean, despite the fact that she really does not shut up at all when you're playing through her levels, it's quite cool because most of the other corrupted are relatively quiet.
Do you break everything you find? Try again.
I mean, the hunter just kind of squawks. The alchemist generally just talks to you just before you fight him. And, yeah.
Or pauper, thief, nobleman, merchant, or assassin. You don't know, do you?
Now,
Watch out for her illusions.
another thing about the concubine is that kind of some of the inflections really heavily remind me of Susan Sarandon. It's not Susan Sarandon, the actual voice actress is Lucinda Davis, who has been in a variety of things, but nothing that you'd really recognise. I mean, she's Mahasti in Prince of Persia: The Two Thrones, Emily Lewis in a TV series called Rumours,
That's the thing with
and
it's so confusing.
yeah,
You think you know where you are, then
and also Prudence in Assassin's Creed 3, but nothing else of particular note, other than maybe Jenny Alexander in Deus Ex Human Revolution. The kind of the inflections are very much kind of Susan Sarandon-y, especially in her performance as Queen Nerissa in Enchanted, which works wonderfully for the concubine with the overtly sexual style of talking and sexualized, if rather hideous, design. I mean, I'm not quite sure anybody would want to have her as a concubine considering she has a tail, but still. Now the main thing with the concubine is that she does have very, very long strings of combos, which she uses quite frequently.
Well, it's been entertaining.
And, lots of vanishing.
Please tell me there's a way to get rid of her permanently.
When we imprison Ahriman for good, or if we enter the palace rooms beyond the Black Gate.
Now, the Black Gate, we haven't seen any yet. Don't worry, we will see one reasonably soonish. And by that I mean in a few parts. But I kind of find it odd that it's brought up here, because at this point you don't know what the hell a Black Gate is. I mean, it's literally a Black Gate, but like you don't know what they do or anything.
Well, never saw myself as appearing on a stage. I'd like to thank you for coming to tonight's special performance of Death of a Concubine.
She's not dead.
I can dream. Thought that's what stages were for.
If you don't dream, you will never be more than you are.
And if you don't wake up, dreaming's all you'll ever do.
Let's go to the next fertile ground.
I'd say those are two kind of very interesting, differing ideologies. And I think kind of both are really true. Is that you've got to dream, otherwise, I mean, otherwise you'll never grow, but you have got to be realistic sometimes. So,
Here's one more.
I mean, I certainly try and do both, if I can. Because, I mean, like, yeah, if there's one thing that I don't think this game ever got enough credit for, is that kind of some of the ideas that the characters expound,
That's another.
kind of in their thought processes, are really kind of quite well thought out. And really useful ways of thinking about life. Which, really, you don't get in video games. I mean, I may just be giving the thing a lot more praise than it's worthy of. And you could say that a lot of what they say is very cliché. But you know what? Screw that, I like some cliché every now and again. Now, something that you just saw there was that even in kind of levels where you don't need a specific power, and when we actually get to levels which do need powers, sometimes you will end up seeing plates that require a different power to what you have at present, or a different one to what you actually need to use in that level. So, for this wonderful stage, it's the Wings of Ormage that you need to get some extra light seeds.
Here we go.
Essentially what those power plates are for is to get, it's generally about 5 light seeds, and you will find at least one of those types of power plate things, or even a string of power plates, that is essentially for the sole purpose of collecting those seeds. Now, don't worry, we are collecting that one. It's just that you have got to do that kind of swinging to get across. Oh, and I was incorrect about it being 120 light seeds to get the next power. It's 170. So yeah, they do increase a lot as you go through. But it's very, very, very easy to collect enough light seeds to progress. And also, it's a lot of them are really not that difficult to find. Like, I mean, you are generally only going to struggle to find about maybe 5-ish, maybe, per area, because most of them are on the path to the fertile ground, or on the paths to the other areas with the fertile grounds in them. So, either way, you aren't going to have much of a struggle to find light seeds.
Want another go?
No. Path.
No.
This is impossible.
Oh, we're back to the game. It's great. Yeah, I kind of have just lost track of what I was saying just now, but it's that damn game. They're gonna keep playing it for a little while at least. But, yeah, the light seeds and kind of finding them, it can be perceived as overly tedious, and in a way, yes it is. Because you have to go back to find them, retracing your steps that you've literally just done. But they're so easy to find for the most part that it's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, I remember Sonic Unleashed got criticised a lot for the Sun and Moon medals, and you can certainly make the argument against Sonic Unleashed for that, because the medals were not always located in easy sight, so you frequently struggle to find them. Whereas here, the light seeds are so easy to find that it is just kind of platforming challenges and kind of exploring everywhere to ensure that you get everything. And about 460 of the light seeds are completely optional, which is a very nice thing, because I think if it had been anything more, people might have got rather miffed off. Because some of the light seeds are particularly evil if you're trying to find them, because they're hidden in nooks and crannies that you aren't quite expecting.
The game would be easier if we played it by the rules.
There are rules?
Yeah.
Oh
I
dear.
know the first letter.
Prince, you should have said the rules. Gosh.
Give me a chance.
Can we get to the fertile
You
ground?
smarmy git, dude.
S.
Are you still playing that game?
S.
Sky.
Hey, you got it. Okay, your turn. Come on, your turn.
For what? C.
Corruption.
Yes. Can we go on?
It's just things like that which make me just really like the Prince and Alika. Like, I mean, you could argue that they could get annoying, but I think that they just kind of come across as really, really, really likeable characters, and you root for them, and that's just pretty awesome. Because there are so many video game characters out there that you just kind of play with and don't really get a connection to. But then kind of you also have games where you just have like a single character that you get a connection to, and all other characters are kind of merely ancillary to that. They literally mean nothing to you. But this game does a really good job of developing that double relationship. I mean, I'd say Enslaved Odyssey to the west has a similar thing of, it does a really good job of making you kind of like the two characters you're playing with, even if they aren't necessarily the single most likeable characters in the world, because they have faults. But you kind of come to appreciate their faults and idiosyncrasies. So it's just clever things like that. And something I kind of found out ever so slightly shortly before recording was that apparently Rhianna Pratchett, who wrote the script for like Mirror's Edge and the Tomb Raider reboot, wrote some additional dialogue for this game, so I would assume that some of the conversations between the Prince and Elika are the work of Rhianna Pratchett. Which is just quite a cool thing, and I guess kind of the inheritance of Terry Pratchett is strong, particularly in the power of characters, because he was always very, very, very good at his characters. I mean, he is still very good at his characters, but I don't know, I always tend to refer to writers in the past. It's probably because the majority of writers I ever speak about are dead, which is kind of depressing. But either way, we've beaten the Concubine's first area, and it's time to head to the city to meet our final corrupted and heal another fertile ground. So, let's do this.